Today we will discuss two figures of pre-Hispanic power, the Cazonci and the Huey Tlatoani. To give it context, in history, among pre-Hispanic cultures, records exist of various leaders, often improperly referred as kings or emperors, in accordance with European views. Examples include Pacal among some Maya or 8-deer jaguar claw among the Mixtec. However, there are other cultures whose roles remain unknown to us. Such in the case with the so-called Teotihuacans, whose ruler of governance structure is not well known. However, for other cultures, there is more known information. Such is the case of the Mexica Huey Tlatoani and the Purépecha Cazonci or Irecha. These two people were contemporaries and their main rulers were these figures. Both governments also shared many historical events. So, let us talk about the possible meanings of these roles. The Nahuatl-speaking groups, not only among the Mexica, called their leader Huey Tlatoani, meaning great speaker, or the great voice. However, Cazonci is more challenging to define. Some suggest that it derived from Nahuatl world. Some believe that this is what the Mexica called the Purépecha ruler. It is thought that Cazonci, as it is now, may have come from Cazonci, a word that some gave an ordinary meaning and others a mocking one. The honorary sense implies it means the one who never took off his shoes, referring to the fact that the Cazonci were never subjugated by the Mexica. However, on the other hand, it is said that the Mexica played with the word Cazonci by adding cactli, shoe, meaning old sandal, highlighting that alpargate is another word for shoe, thus old shoe. Supposedly, this translation was given a mockery by the Mexica due to the last Cazonci appearing in humble clothing before the Spanish court, surrendering without resistance. But in truth, these possible translations are more mythical or popular than their true meanings. The more serious translations of Cazonci or Irecha suggest that Cazonci means chief or head of the house, while Irecha, the other term used for them, means lord of the house, the first head of the house and the people. Regardless of its meaning, Tlatoani and Cazonci represented the highest authority, with the difference that the Tlatoani was accompanied by the Cihuacoatl or snake woman, a co-ruler unlike the Irecha. In the histories of both peoples, there were previous rulers who strictly would have not been called Tlatoani or Cazonci. Therefore, we will only address the official figure recognized by history, with 5 Irechas starting with Tariacuri and ending with Tangashoan II, while the Tlatoani count includes 11, starting with Acampachintli and concluding with Cuauhtémoc. And of course, with the arrival of the Spanish, independent authorities were no longer possible in the colonial era. In both branches, power was transmitted within the ruling family. There were no Irechas or Tlatoanis outside the family tree. As for their power, it is believed that it was not absolute. Priests, nobles, or councils of elders also advised or participated in the decision of the top leaders. As mentioned earlier, the Tlatoanis also had a Cihuacoatl. Additionally, there were other notable Tlatoanis like Nezahualcóyotl and later his son Nezahualpili in the Triple Alliance from the side of Texcoco. To be named Tlatoani or Irecha, the ruling leader had to die first. Their selection and enthronement ceremonies involved rites that were similar, though the order of their stage varied between them. In both cases, the choice was meant to select the best candidate, although family ties weighed more heavily in some cases. Unselected, the Tlatoani was presented in the Templo Mayor, while the Irecha was presented in his deceased father's house. In both cases, they underwent penitential and purification rites. In both societies, nobility exchanged moralizing speeches with the new rulers, reminding them of the duties to the people and the humility expected of them. Festivities took place, as well as war ceremonies, as both rulers had the primary task of waging war on other peoples to increase their power. The Tlatoani was expected to engage in the test of war, which involved subjugating an external people. Meanwhile, the Cazonci had a ceremony of war, where he would not conquer another, but rather take prisoner of sacrifice. Both rulers represent their people's highest deities on earth, fulfilling priestly and military roles. The Cazonci represent the supreme Purépecha deity, Curicabri, while the Tlatoani represented Huitzilopochtli and could also represent Tezcatlipoca, Quetzalcoatl, Xipetotec, or Xiuhtecuhtli in certain ceremonies. Regarding attire, both had several outfits, but the following were the most significant: the elected Cazonci wore the garland or jaguar skin, a quiver of the same feline skin, a bow, and 2 arrows. While the Tlatoani wore turquoise-colored attire, the Xiuhtzali on his head, the Yacaxihuitl on his nose, and the Xiuhtlimatli covering his body. Historically, it was only a matter of time before these two would clash due to the proximity, resulting in several small and large battles. However, the Mexica could not subjugate the Purépecha. The first confrontation took place when the Irecha Tzitzin warriors defended those of Atzayacatl in 477. Later, Suanga's men defeated Moctezuma's second forces in 1517. These conflicts led the Purépecha to refuse alliances upon the arrival of the Spanish. Moctezuma II sent 3 delegations to negotiate alliances. The first, in 1519, when the Mexica learned that Cortés was nearing the coast of Tabasco and Veracruz, but it was unsuccessful. The second attempt, in the fall of 1520, ended with Irecha Zunga killing the Mexica envoys. The final delegation resulted in the massacre of the 10 messengers. There were more shared historical aspects between the two rules. The penultimate Irecha and Tlatoani both died in smallpox. On the Purépecha side, it was Suanga. On the Mexica side, it was Cuitláhuac. The least rulers were executed by the Spanish. Cuauhtémoc was hanged from the tree during the Uberas expedition, while Tengashoan II, despite offering no resistance, was put on trial. After the trial, he was dangered, tied to a horse, and sentenced to die by fire. Thus ended the last independent Mexica and Purépecha rulers. Both shared the tradition of having the remains cremated. However, due to the Spanish, the remains disappeared. It is said the Tengashoan's remains were thrown into a river after being burned, while Cuauhtémoc's remains have yet to be definitely identified. The remains in Ixcateopan belong to 8 different people, and the skull in that of a woman. This concludes 2 of the most important forms of governance. In the pre-Hispanic era, both were also connected to the hummingbird. Tzintzuntzan, the Purépecha capital and home of the Irecha, meant place of the hummingbird, while the Huey Tlatoani worshipped the southern hummingbird, Huitzilopochtli. This inspires us to remember them by lighting fires in their honor.